So erectile dysfunction is a tough topic to talk about, especially for a guy. It's one of those things that it's easier to come up with an excuse like, I lost my mojo, or, I'm just not feeling it tonight. I had a long day at work. It's easier to do that than talk to somebody about it. Well, with today's video sponsor, Roman, that all changes. With Roman, it's easy to talk about it with a healthcare professional who can prescribe real medication. It's simple, it's safe, and totally discreet. You can get a free online evaluation and ongoing care for ED, all from the comfort and privacy of your home. The healthcare professional will work with you to find the best treatment plan. If medication is appropriate, Roman will ship it to you with free 2-day shipping. The whole process is straightforward, simple, and discreet. Getting started is simple. Just go to GetRoman.com/SSR and complete an online visit. Erectile dysfunction used to be tough to tackle, but now there's Roman. Complete an online visit today to connect with a healthcare professional and get it taken care of. So visit GetRoman.com/SSR. You'll save $15 off your first order. That's GetRoman.com/SSR. GetRoman.com/SSR. I put a link right below in the description. What's up, everybody? Rob Ferretti, and we have a new record with my 488. And what is that new record? Well, it's got more miles on it, and all from a one-day rental. Now, I've made myself and my business model very vocal about why we don't do unlimited mile rentals. And let's see, give me the odometer here. We're at 15,918, so almost 16,000 miles on this. And I'm going to buy this back at 25,000 miles, and then it'll be my car again. Technically my car anyway, because it's my company. The unlimited mile rental model doesn't work. And I explain why in so many details, or at least it doesn't work in my business. But if you look at this car, to put 500 miles on this car, say you're doing an unlimited mile rental company, and you've seen these exist, where it's like, okay, $700, and you can go do, or whatever, $1,000, you can go do however many miles you want. And there may be stipulations that you can't leave the state, you can't go outside of the tri-state area, whatever it is, depending on where the company is. But unless you're rolling back your cars, there's no way you can let somebody put 500, 700 miles on this car inside 24 hours for $1,000. Just the depreciation, the maintenance, your overhead that goes into these cars, you have to think. So the main thing that you're going to have as far as expense, business expense, which shouldn't be salary, your main business expense per unit should be the cost of depreciation. So this car costs $383,000. Now it is worth $183,000, would it make a number? $183,000, that is $200,000 in depreciation. That is now money that is now worth less than it was what I paid for it. Then you have an interest expense if you have to borrow money. Say you're borrowing money at 10%, say you're borrowing 100% of that. Now you're paying $38,000 a year, rough math because the principal goes down. But just say you have a $30,000 a year interest expense on this car. Then you have your insurance expense. And then obviously when it's out of warranty, you have your maintenance expense. That's that one unit. That's everything that wraps up into that unit when you have a decision in your mind, whether that was profitable or not profitable. It's pretty much why I don't carry McLarens anymore, because they're either going to kill you on maintenance or they're going to kill you on depreciation. So whether you have it under warranty and you lose $200,000, or you have one out of warranty and you lose $200,000, it sucks. But this car specifically just had its largest one-day rental total in existence, or like at least for me. Now, I've only gotten bit once with the unlimited mile rentals, and we did this. We were a much younger company. We're talking like 2006. Guy rented the Bentley, and he was just like, and I remember the conversations. It was like, look, I just don't want to be bound by mileage. I just don't want to have it in the back of my head. He took a car for a weekend. Look, I'm taking it for 3 days. So like, I think he may have paid $2,500 for the Bentley. And normally we would include 300 miles, $2,500 for the Bentley GT. And it was at the time like $1.95 a mile over that. And so this way we're like, all right, well, if the guy goes over 300 miles, say he goes an extra 100 miles, it's only another $200, not a big deal. Well, this guy, we have GPS in the cars. We look, and when we look up, the guy's in Chicago. And I'm like, all right, now you've put one by me. Like, that's such a screwball move. And we're watching him, we're like, what are you going to do? We've given him and I don't even think we gave him unlimited miles. We gave him like up to 1,000 miles for 99 cents a mile over, just so he doesn't have to worry about anything. So we didn't really get totally screwed, but 99 cents a mile is not enough to cover the depreciation and maintenance on a Bentley. So we ended up ultimately getting screwed. But that was that one rental that saved our policies in the future. So now what we would do is, say you have a one-day rental. So say this car is $2,000 a day, one-day rental, you get 100 miles included for free. You don't use them, no big deal. You go over. It used to be $1.95 a mile. And then if you go over 200 miles, so if you go over double your allowed miles, so say you have 100 miles included for a day, 200 miles included on the weekend. If you go over your double the mileage allowance, it goes up by $3 a mile only for those ones over 200 miles on a one-day rental, or over 400, or however many, depending on how long your rental period is. So you're looking at that, and it's just you're paying for what you use. Not a big deal. I think the pay-to-play thing is there. I've since switched that model completely to now just everything is a flat rate. It's either $3.95 or $4.95 a mile over your allotted miles. Works much easier, much less math, and I think it was actually higher. We picked a hybrid. I think it was like $3 or $3.49 a mile, and then the $3 surcharge above that. So it was up like $6 or $7 a mile for anything over double. Now it's like we picked the middle, and we're right in the middle at $3.95 or $4.95. But having somebody there's no way this guy, I didn't even give you the number. What's your number? How many miles did this guy put in one day? Didn't do a road trip, didn't do anything, just drove around all day. 473 miles. That's a lot of miles in one day. Now, I've done it. I've done like rallies and road trips where you'll drive to North Carolina. It's like 10 hours of straight driving. This guy just sort of drove in circles a lot. That's at least 2 tanks of gas. And I don't know, it's his rental was almost the same. Just to give you context, the rental amount was $1,950. The mileage amount was almost another $1,900. So the guy ended up doing almost 500 miles, where we expect it to be about 100 miles per day per customer. But the guy ended up doing 500 miles, and it cost him like $8 a mile. Not a home run. Ideally on this car, we want to get roughly $15 a mile is what we really want to get to be profitable. So whether we're making money or losing money, we mitigate that loss on these super high mileage one-day rentals. I don't get, if you get a guy, and if you're giving unlimited miles, some people may just be like, look, I'm going to live in the car for a day. There may be guys that do 800 or 1,000 miles. You don't have to do a road trip to do that. You could just drive around all the time. And to do that, it just doesn't make business sense. And to do business or rentals that don't make business sense doesn't make sense to me. So that's what happened on this. First time, no big deal, no scratches, no anything like that. Guy just put a lot of miles on it. And for me, if a guy does just equivalent, so say the guy took it for a weekend, it's $44.50. Then he put the same almost 500 miles on it. He'd have 200 included, then 200 miles. So it'd be another, so you're talking about $5,500. So I'm short about $1,500 in revenue if the guy just took it for a weekend, or the 4 one-day rentals at 100 miles each is $8,000 roughly. But that's sort of what happens. The unlimited mile rentals, go do it. Like, don't get me wrong, you can't have the expectation of getting in a low mile car when you go to an unlimited mile company. So you are sort of getting what you pay for in that regard. I've seen there was a Huracan with like 160,000 miles on it. That was a rental car. If you're paying $600 a day for unlimited miles, you have to expect that. So if you have a hole in the seat, if you have anything like that, that's just what you're going to get. But if you want, lower mile cars, just different business models. There is definitely a business model that says, if I charge $500 a day every day for this car with unlimited miles, as long as I can run it for 5 years, or like if it gets totaled out, if I can run it for 5 years at $500 a day at 20 days a month, that's $10,000 a month, that's $500,000 for a $300,000 car. It's also a business model, just not the one I like. And I like to cater to the higher end customers versus the customers that are looking for a cheaper car. Because when you're looking at cheaper cars, you get the customer that's the worst customer, which is the guy who wants the cheapest car, the unlimited miles, the no security deposit, but then he wants a brand new car. And yes, that'll happen. When they buy a car, there's going to be those customers that get that experience. But everyone else can't rationally expect a brand new perfect car if you're getting an unlimited mile rental for $700. So food for thought. I've had a couple of people reach out to me, one specifically about starting a rental company or jumping from Turo over to a rental company. Completely different. I'll get into that, and as far as business models go and how to start businesses and run businesses, I feel like this is stuff that's actually productive and helpful to share. To some people, it may be mind-bogglingly boring, but to people that are interested in business and like whatever business you're in, that translates over to other businesses. Just that the way of thinking like a business versus thinking about like, oh, that seems fun. I like to be able to integrate that, give you guys the ability to avoid shortfalls or wasting money or time, which is both valuable to you. Wasting either of those, chasing down things that ultimately aren't going to be successful. Some you may prove me wrong, but most of the time I'm pretty good at seeing where there's a market and where there's not. So, Rob Ferretti, thank you for watching. I'll see you tomorrow. So you guys are familiar with my other company, Adventure Drives, right? Well, we're going to be going to Scotland in October. We're going to be doing Scotch distilleries, playing golf at St. Andrews if you want to do that, walking around, seeing lakes, waterfalls, driving the North Coast. It's going to be an amazing trip. Prices start as low as $2,500 per person for the shorter trip in Scotland. If you're interested in going, check out the link in the description.